Hi MSJ, I'm Alex Helfrecht.
Hi, and I'm Jörg Tittel.
So the first question is, do we see filmmaking as one frame at a time, or about the overall effect of the stories that we are telling as storytellers? And the answer, I would say, is of course both. The overall effect, the overall story that we are passionate about telling is of course important, but it's true that every single frame is there for a reason, that it's been planned, it's been thought about, it's been debated about.
Or it's because we had no other choice and we had to keep it in.
In some cases. But of course any filmmaker will say that it's not a collection of arbitrary thoughts. It is, of course, everything is something that has had some polish on it. And Jörg, for example, in our film The White King, we did storyboard a lot and plan the shots a lot. That was a big part of it. And of course there were lots of happy accidents too in the performances and in the locations that we found, in the accidents in the weather. Certain things you definitely can't plan in filmmaking, but I think if you have a handle on the story and the tone and the feeling that you're trying to evoke, then that is also the idea, that is also a huge part of directing.
I mean, I think one rule for us, I think, was, if there's a rule, really, because once you start shooting it, all these rules pretty much fall out the window, it seems like, anyway. But
we have to fight for them.
You fight for it. I mean, you want to, you pretend that you are completely in control, when in fact you depend on so many different factors when you shoot a film. But we, the idea that you can actually freeze frame the film at any time and be happy with what you're looking at, and that every frame ultimately represents and speaks for the film, that's definitely a goal to strive for. I mean, it's a bummer when you shoot something and it's all over the place stylistically, and one scene suddenly doesn't really speak for the rest of the picture. So in that sense, there's this fascinating experiment that was done. You can look it up online, where someone has actually fed an entire film into one still image, and it actually shows you the entire film compressed into one image, and you get this sort of incredible color sort of blur, and perhaps that's one way of thinking of mise-en-scène, like what is the color, what's the mood, what is the overall expression you're going for, and then make sure that every frame, every scene, every moment actually fits that picture. But and the other thing that's important, I think, is to make sure that you make a movie that works with the sound off, but then gets much better with the sound on. I don't know if that explains.
Yeah, I think Jörg's touched on a really interesting point, that frame by frame also means soundbite by soundbite. The finished picture, I think often soundtracks are neglected in films, but for me a soundtrack is as important as the visuals, it's as important as the acting and the overall story. And I really love it when a critic will indeed take apart all aspects of the mise-en-scène, and they will talk in length about a soundtrack, how it makes them feel and how it serves the story, just as much as they would talk about a performance or a visual sequence. So that's important to both of us. We're very musically driven, and we love great original scores aligned with the film.
Mise-en-scène.
Mise-en-scène.